Hi guys, Ashley here with my very first episode of Sassy Woodworks, where I'm going to be showing you everything that I've learned so far, from DIYs to woodworking. Now I get a lot of questions asked about all sorts of things. People message me asking what stains to use, where to get their wood, everything like that. So it's something that I just want to cover. So for those beginners out there that don't know where to start, but they want to try and do something themselves, maybe this will save some time. So today I thought I'd start off with a modern rustic side table. I need two in my living room right now, and I've also had questions recently about the difference between rustic and modern rustic. My house is slowly migrating into becoming more of a modern rustic, whereas before when I was first learning I was just slapping some boards together and calling it rustic. This now is a bit more higher quality. It involves quite a bit more prep time, but the outcome is so much nicer and something that you can hold on to for many years. I get all my wood from either Home Depot in the winter months because it's usually drier. I live in Canada and it gets pretty cold in the winter time, and that wood that's sitting there in an outdoor yard is frozen up, solid, containing so much moisture that no matter what you're gonna do, it's gonna end up warping. So it's always good to have something that's dry. That's the biggest struggle people have with spruce and other things like even cedar and pine. So make sure that when you're going to the yard or wherever you go, you make sure that the wood's straight when you first get it. And if you're doing a big project like a kitchen table or anything like that, you want to make sure that it is strapped for several weeks to make sure that that moisture is totally out of there. So as you can see, I've already started this tabletop. I ended up using 3 2x6 pieces where I've planed each side to make sure that they each butt up really nicely together to get that more modern feel to it. The edges are pretty rough. You can see the glue marks. It's because I haven't sanded it yet. And I'm also going to be putting end caps on this whole table. Just because I've already done that with my coffee table and my kitchen table that I've built already, and so that's kind of the look I'm going for. So to get started, you can use anything from a belt sander, palm sander, whatever's going to get the job done to make sure that this is nice and flush and flat. So one thing I want to cover first is safety. It's something that's very important to me. If you don't know what you're doing, I suggest that you have somebody that does with you so that they can show you how to use the tools. Today I'm going to end up needing a dust mask, some safety glasses. My hair's up in a ponytail. That seems to be something that I always forget, and then I'll be halfway through a project and my hair's just in my face, and I mean, worst thing, it could probably get caught in this drill right here. So make sure that you wear your hair up, ladies, and make sure that you're working in a well-ventilated area. Okay, so I ended up sanding down the top, and I got a little carried away and ended up building the whole thing, for the most part anyways. So I ended up having to sand underneath the bottom as well because there was glue coming through that had hardened, so it wasn't even enough, and I wanted to make sure that these pieces here sat flush with the bottom to make sure that there was no wobble and just to ensure the structural support of it all. So I went ahead and did that, and then I ended up making it into just a basic table. You could go ahead and put a shelf on the bottom, but I just like a little bit more clean cut because I don't need another place to put my junk. So I ended up just putting a support beam in the middle and on the sides here, if you can see. And so there's a couple screw marks here and on each leg right here. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was how to go about filling these holes. There's a few ways. If you want really rustic, don't fill them in at all. If you want it to be a bit more modern, a bit more put together, then I would suggest adding these. And what I do, they're screw hole buttons, and so what I do is I end up just putting some wood glue onto a scrap piece of wood, and I drill the holes to the size of whatever ones you want to get. There's all sorts of different sizes. So I ended up going with this one, and it's a little bit bigger, a little chunkier, and so all I do is I end up putting the bottom into the glue, just dabbing it in, and then just filling. And sometimes you need a hammer to get them in, but usually they sit pretty nice if you've drilled the right hole size. So I'll just do these two quick, just to show you. And so that just makes it look a lot more complete than, say, the 2 holes sitting there. So that's something that I do. Another way you can do it is you can fill it with wood glue and sawdust from your project, whatever sawdust is laying around. Sometimes I just grab some of that, put it onto a board, and mix it in with the glue to fill. Or you can, of course, get wood filler, which is probably the easiest way to do it. So I didn't end up wanting to put screw holes on the top of my table. I wanted it to just look really nice. And so what I did was this support beam here, I ended up screwing down into each leg, and that makes it so that you don't have to put the screw holes on the top. And I also feel like it builds a lot more strength to the table when you use something like that. Like I said, I could have used a 1x4, but I was out of them, so I ended up using a 1x6, but this is gonna get covered by the end caps that I'm gonna put on. But before I put those on, I just wanted to show you how it was built, kinda. So I also wanted to just add to always use pilot holes. I do it every time now. There was so many times before where I would just be in such a hurry and I'd just be trying to just screw it all together, and I'd end up cracking a board and just getting mad at myself. It's not worth the trouble. Just go ahead and drill them first. It's gonna save you more time in the long run when your boards keep cracking on you. So when you're taking measurements for whatever you're gonna be building, make sure to always consider the tabletop of it, because there's times where you think, okay, I need something that's 26 inches, and then you forget about this piece, or you forget about the piece here that I used to support the legs. And so always remember that as something to measure off of. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you've enjoyed the video and it's been helpful to some of you out there. My next video is gonna be of me staining this table, and so you're gonna end up seeing it with the end caps on, all finished up. And I'm also gonna discuss different types of stains, so oil-based, water-based, what the difference is between them, how you apply them differently, all of that. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.